I say, okay, I'm having a panic attack. I'm not going to deny it. I'm going to say, okay, fear, I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm nervous. This is part of being a human being in the world. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to feel something. As a person who is turning 60 in 2 months, I have failed hard in my life. I clearly failed at makeup application there, trying to cover my rosacea. I had the benefit of being at the tail end of the boomer generation, the ones who own homes, who retire, who get to live comfortably in their senior years because things were a little better when I was young and just starting out in the job market. Yeah, I failed at that. I failed at a lot, but there's one thing that I succeed at in my life, and that is staying optimistic and positive despite everything that's happening in the world. Every day, a new disaster, sad, sad stories in the news that just break your heart. But if you're interested, I would like to give you some of the wisdom of my elder years and let you know how you can be happy despite everything that's going on in the world. First, a little background. There are a lot of things that I worry about in my life. I wake up in the middle of the night. I have nightmares a lot, and I think it's because of my worries. I'm totally stressed about money at this point. I have a big tax bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay it. Thinking about taking out a credit card. My first credit card in 20 years. I have no debt right now, but um, thinking about taking out a card to pay my debts. I also have some issues. Some weird stuff is happening with my eyes and various things around my body that just feel a little weird and off. But I don't have insurance and I don't definitely want to spend any money going to the doctor. So that's out. So I just, will myself to heal. There's quite a bit of this mold on all my windows and these little weird sawdust looking things, which I think is termites eating the frame of the home. And the mold, it looks like black mold. So, they say that's really bad. So there's that too. That worries me a lot. And obviously, I don't own this home. I rent it and I rent it very affordably. So, yeah, I can't afford to move out. So try to clean up the mold the best I can and hope that the house doesn't fall down before I move out of here, which I have no idea if that's ever going to be possible. I often feel like I failed in so many ways because I had so many advantages. Yes, I was born gay at a time when it wasn't really accepted, and my father was quite frightened of my femininity when I was a little boy. So I sort of shut down. I grew up without any friends. I grew up internalizing everything. And a lot of that is the reason why I wasn't able to keep jobs. It got too stressful. I'd be doing great for a while and then something that would happen that just I couldn't go on in that job, so I would quit. I basically gave up a lot of good jobs and opportunities because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't emotionally handle the stress of dealing with people mostly. It wasn't about the job, it was that every job you have to deal with people with their opinions and their disapproval. But we're not here to whine and cry. I don't really feel sorry for myself, I guess. Here comes the fatherly advice. I made choices and I like to think that every choice, when the outcome is not ideal, it's an opportunity to learn. And as many times as you fail, you can always turn it around. Ah, so lesson one is don't be afraid of your mistakes. Just learn from them, and you'll probably make them again and again and again. But that's all right. Self awareness, going inside, looking honestly at yourself, taking responsibility, but also admitting, you didn't have the easiest life, and not blaming anybody for it, but just admit it's okay. You didn't have the easiest childhood. Not that other people don't have more horrific things happening in their lives, but yours are valid too. Your issues are valid. We all have difficulties in our lives, and some are overtly horrifying, but that doesn't make yours any less valid. That's lesson two. This is not groundbreaking, but I've seen a lot of videos lately of people whose lives don't look ideal, and yet they manage to find some joy in their lives. There's a man who lives in his car because he's dealt with alcoholism, and his life has kind of come to the point where he can't afford to live in a home. He lives in his car now. And he takes time to enjoy that his time in the back of his car with lighting a little lantern and relaxing and just being grateful that he's not on the street homeless or unhoused, I guess is the proper way to say that now. Also, a man in Japan living a very simple life in a very small house, uh, doesn't have a lot of money, but takes the time to make himself a nice meal, enjoys the process of cutting up the vegetables, washing the dishes, taking those moments to really appreciate the experience of being alive right now in this world. All the sights and the sounds and the textures and the tastes and little rituals that don't cost any money, really. Ah, rituals, a way to celebrate the moments of your life, to celebrate these senses that you have in this dimension, this third dimension living. Rituals. So that's one way that I'm able to find some peace and joy, despite the fact that I have a lot of things on my mind that I'm worried about. One way is just to take a moment, look out the window, look at the one thing that I've always loved. I remember being a little boy and looking out the window in my room and seeing the wind blowing through the leaves and just watching a tree with its leaves blowing in the breeze. For me, it's a special moment. It gives me a lot of peace, and it something that I still do. I still gravitate toward homes where I can look out the window and see leaves blowing in the breeze, and I have that now, despite the fact that houses falling down and there's black mold in it. There's beauty outside, and I can take pleasure in that. Little moments of just making coffee, drinking coffee in the morning with a peaceful YouTube video, someone gardening, or someone just going about their day and shopping. And that for me is a morning ritual that really sets my day going in a good direction and keeps my mind off my worries for a little while. Another thing to do if you're overwhelmed with anxiety and worries is to voice it. Whether you're voicing it to a camera or you're lucky enough to have a friend, housemate, a family member that will listen to you, or this might sound weird, but even your pet. Talk to your pet. I'm really really worried about whatever I'm worried about, and I'm just glad you're here. Thank you for being here with me. I this moment is precious to me, and your comfort that you give me means a lot. Something like that. Keeping your fears, your sadness, your feelings inside isn't good for you. Voice it. And if you don't have anyone to voice it to your phone. unburden yourself however you can. Here's another one for you from my wise mind. Feel your feelings. Don't try to push away your feelings. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm stressing out and I physically feel my heart sort of pounding and I'm worried about right now mostly my tax bill. Uh, and I say, okay, I'm having a panic attack. It's okay. I'm not going to deny it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to let it come over me. I'm going to say, okay, fear, I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm nervous. This is part of being a human being in the world. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to feel something. So embrace the fear, embrace the sadness. Don't try to push it away. Embrace it, feel it fully. Don't forget your feelings are important. They are messengers. So embrace them. Even if they're unpleasant feelings, they have messages for you. And you might not get it right away, but embrace them and you will realize things eventually that will help you improve your life. Live in the moment, but also find something to look forward to. Right now, my birthday celebration is going to coincide with WeHo Pride, West Hollywood LGBTQ Pride, and so I'm looking forward to spending time with a couple friends and just having a weekend. I'm going to take a day off from my work, um, give myself time to fully just enjoy that weekend. Um, but even if it's something like sometimes I'll even just be scared at night, worried, and just look forward to the morning, to my morning coffee or a meal that I have waiting for me in the refrigerator that I know I will enjoy. Always try to find something to look forward to, and it doesn't have to be something big or expensive. It can be as simple as looking forward to getting up in the morning and drinking coffee while watching YouTube. Know that there will be chaos. Right now, I've got dogs barking outside. I've got helicopters soaring over my home. Um, People right outside my window, which I feel a little foolish talking here to the camera. But that's part of the experience. That's part of being a human being. And value it, laugh at it. It is pretty funny. But every time you try to turn on the camera and you try to talk, then you notice all these sounds that are probably going on all day, but you don't notice them until you turn on the camera. So it seems like it's quiet until you turn on the camera, but you know that's not the case. It's just that you don't notice it. But if you can laugh at the minor inconveniences in your life, it will help you. Embrace the chaos. Life is chaos. Creation is chaotic. It's exciting. And if you can find the humor in it, that's even better. But for me, the most important thing, I'm going to move my camera. Don't be afraid to make a little change when necessary. My neighbor was right outside my front door, and I know he could hear everything I was saying, and I felt a little stupid and embarrassed. So move the camera. My lighting's probably hideous here too, but you know, what can you do? The most important thing to me is the belief that there's something more than this life, this 3D reality that we live in, where life is rough and people are sad and we struggle with bills and the earth is dying and the people in power don't seem to care about us more than they care about money. They've let us down and all that. For me, faith, and I'm not talking about religion, because when I was young, I used to go to the Catholic Church, and it never really resonated with me. It just was a little bit too on the nose. There's this God sitting up there, and God will be angry if you do the wrong thing. But if you do the right thing, that's great, and you get to live your afterlife with angels and harps and joy and love. It all just seemed a little bit too on the nose for me. I do remember being a little kid in bed at night, and I guess I've been having anxiety at night since I was a child because I do remember lying in bed and wondering what happens when the earth doesn't exist anymore. How can there be nothing? How can there be just a void, an empty void? What will happen when eventually the sun, which is a star, burns out and then the earth explodes and we're gone? I was worried about that as a little kid. And that's what brought me to quantum physics or metaphysics or whatever it's called. But the stuff that Deepak Chopra talks about, the stuff that Dolores Cannon talks about, is the thing that keeps me going. It's the thought that we are souls, we are here on this earth, working through stuff, creating. We're here to experience. We're here to create. We're here to learn who we truly are. We are extensions of the Creator or God, if the word God doesn't bother you, but not in a religious sense. Because I do believe the Bible was written by human beings interpreting the teachings of Jesus, who was real, interpreting Jesus's teachings to fit the narrative that they wanted to put out there for people to fall in line so they could control people. So they took the word of Jesus, this word about love and acceptance and dying and being reborn, to show us that we die and are reborn, and that we don't have to live our whole lives in fear of dying. And all that teaching was used to control people. So that's why I'm not religious. Now, if you are religious and you're getting offended by this, I respect your beliefs. I think everyone is on their own path and everybody has to make up their own mind. So if you are Christian or whatever religion you follow, that's for you, and I respect you. I do respect you for having a belief and defending it and going forward in your life with those ideals, whatever they may be. But it's not me. But it gives me so much peace to believe that this life is temporary, and I'm not gonna opt out early just because it's difficult. We're here to experience all this. And eventually, we're here to realize that we create our own reality. And by focusing on the negative all the time, we just create more negative. So it is important to be happy, to find whatever moments you can find to be happy and do it to the fullest. I know some people take comfort in believing that there is nothing else, that it's just this life. There's no creator. It's just the planet exists and we exist. And after we die, we don't go on. We're done. And I worked with a man who was my boss, and we had this discussion at work. And I told him all my beliefs, and I said that's how I feel. I feel comforted that no matter what's going on here, there's more to it, and um, we will go on and be loved and find joy eventually, even if we don't find it while we're here. And for him, it was the opposite. He felt comfort in, yeah, this is it. This is it. And after we're done, and we don't have to worry about anything else. And we're done. And he took comfort in that. So if that's you, I get it. I get it. Examine your life and find out what you believe and live by that. You don't have to believe what I believe, but believe in something. There's a very loud helicopter. What is happening? It's so loud today. It's the universe telling me to shut up, and this is silly. Don't make this video. Did you hear that? Oh man. Honestly, that was the loudest helicopter I think that I've ever heard, and I hear them a lot here. But wrapping up, I hope you can take something from this video and use something to keep you going. You know, we all have a lot of things on our minds. We all have worries, different kinds, health or money, or just existential issues. And if we can take pleasure in the simplicity, in the simple moments, acknowledge our fears, laugh at it all, it's pretty silly. Have something to look forward to, believe in something, whether it's that we go on or that we don't go on, and use that as a comfort. We're here now. We've got to deal with it, and if we can live happily, we're happy. The people we encounter will be happy. The people they encounter will get that happiness benefit, and ultimately, everything is going to be better for everybody. And I'm going to go now. This helicopter craziness is a lot. I'm going to eat lunch. Have a great day. Thank you.